Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you want to know what requirements yellow belts should know or what knowledge a yellow belt should have, make sure you stick around for this video. Hi, my name is Chad and I've been working in the business improvement, you can call it continuous improvement, whatever you want to call it, for about 20 years, just over 20 years actually. And I started out early on in my career doing manufacturing, transitioned into manufacturing for automotive, for a subsidiary of Honda, and now I work for an aerospace company. It's all kind of the same stuff, just at different paces. But there's certain requirements that all yellow belts, green belts, and black belts, even master black belts, should know or be familiar with. And today I'm talking all about the yellow belt. What I would require if I were hiring a yellow belt. This is what I also expect of my students, so I do training for yellow belts. This is what I would really want them to walk away the class knowing. This is what I would want them walking away from the class knowing, if that makes sense. So basically, when I do training, there's core topics that I focus on, right? Then I'm like, look, if I don't cover anything else, make sure they know this. And the reason I do that is because a lot of times with training, you get all this information and it's difficult to remember anything. So that's why I always have these bullet points, and I'm going to share those with you right now. The first thing you need to know is Tim P. Wood. I know it's not a person, it is actually an acronym for the 8 ways. I've seen it as downtime as well. Downtime, use the first letter of each word, and that is the acronym for the 8 ways. I also use Tim P. Wood, so I'm going to cover that right now. So if we were to take Tim and the T from Tim, and we would say that's transportation. So transportation can be a waste. And I'm not going to go all the details on that now. I just want you to be familiar with the acronym. So transportation, the I is inventory, the M is motion, okay, and the P is people, sorry. But it's not people waste, okay? It's not like people are a waste. It's actually the intellect of people, or not putting people in the right positions, or not putting people, where they should be. It's like having an engineer dump trash cans is probably not a good use of the engineer's time, right? So that could be a people waste. The W for wood, so Tim P. Wood, the W would be waiting. The O, one of the O's would be over-processing. The other O would be overproduction, and then the last letter is D. Do you know what D is? If you know what D is, type it down in the comment section below and I'll let you know if you were right or wrong. So Tim P. Wood. Okay, I'll tell you, it's defects. Okay, a lot of people get that wrong. Believe it or not, a lot of times when I go Tim P. Wood, what's the T stand for? What's a T, what does a T represent? What waste does it represent? A lot of times people say time, but it's not time, right? You're not unless you're wasting time, time's not a waste. And the second takeaway I feel like yellow belts should know from my classes, and hopefully any yellow belt really, is the value stream map, okay? Because the value stream map can seem overwhelming, but it lists out the value of the organization, the value of a process, the value steps within a process, right? So a value stream map is very important, and it sees value, or represents value, from the customer's perspective, which is even more important. Now within the value stream map, you're going to have 3 categories that I want you to remember, okay, in all my yellow belts, and that is value add, non-value add, and then the third one is necessary non-value add, or essential non-value add. It's something that's required that might not be value add, but you need it to do a value add process. Therefore, it is essential, or it's necessary and needed, however you want to determine that. But it's something that, not really value add, but you got to have it to get the value add process done. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Chad, what is a non-value add? I'd ask that you go back and look at the first takeaway I talked about, which was waste, and any of those categories in Tim P. Wood would be considered non-value add. They're all waste. And the third takeaway I'd want my yellow belts to know is being able to identify constraints. So you would use the value stream map, right, to identify constraints within the process, so you could identify projects, whether they are just do-its, whether they're long-term projects, maybe they're just yellow belts, maybe they're green belt projects, DMAIT projects, whatever it may be. You want to make sure you take a look at the VSM and identify, where do we need projects from? How can we get projects out of this value stream map? Where are we wasting the most time? Okay, look at the non-value add processes first. Common mistake here is a lot of people will go in and look at the value add processes, right? They'll go in and look at the value add and think, ooh, if we can cut this in 50%, we're getting a lot of value out of the process. But the truth of the matter is only about 5 to 10% of any process is value add. You can test me on that if you'd like by doing your own value stream map for your organization, your business, your company, whatever. And I guarantee you about 5 to 10% is going to be value add. The rest of it's non-value add. So I'd rather get 50% of 95% or 50% of 90% rather than getting 50% of 5 or 10%, right? You're going to get more value out of that. You're going to get more bang for your buck, if you will, out of doing that, looking at those constraints. The fourth takeaway that yellow belts should know is 5S. Now, I'm not going to go to all the 5S's because I've done a video on this already. I'll pop a card out here somewhere in just a moment so you can go check that video out, or just stick around to the end and I'll put a card at the end. You can click on that and it'll take you right to a 5S video. But just know, when you're talking about 5S, everything has a place and everything is in its place, right? And hopefully you probably already knew that, but if you didn't, now you do. Everything has a place and everything in its place. That basically sums up 5S. But listen, you can call it whatever you want, but the truth of the matter is 5S is just cleaning up, okay? It's just making sure you clean up, making sure you put things back in a location so that when you go to find it again, it's in that location. I know my garage is not 5S right now. It's a disaster at work. Desk is very 5S. This office, pretty well 5S. My garage is a summertime project I'm gonna work on, but just know 5S is something that I would expect my yellow belts to know. And last but not least, I'd want my yellow belts to be familiar with the acronym DMAIC, D-M-A-I-C. I'd want my yellow belts to know that define, measure, analyze, improve, and control is the acronym that they would be using if they decide to transition into green belt. And the reason I want them to know that is because they may be supporting a green belt or a black belt on a project, and if they don't know what DMAIC means, it's going to be, they're going to have a bit of a difficult time knowing when they're in the define stage and the green belt's talking about, well, define, we got to define the project, we need to improve the project, we got to control the project, got to measure. They're going to be thinking, okay, what is this? Maybe they're not going to be understanding exactly what's happening. So being familiar with DMAIC is something I would definitely expect my yellow belts to know. So DMAIC, define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And it's just a problem-solving methodology for Six Sigma. Now listen, if you like this video, make sure you click the thumbs up button, subscribe to this channel if you like this kind of content. Additionally, listen, I'll read all the comments. So if there's something you want to see, there's definitely a couple of comments that I've read about me sharing my journey to get from working in automotive up through getting my black belt, and now I'm in the Master Black Belt program for the aerospace company I work for. I'm happy to do that, and I'm going to do that. So if there's something you want to see specifically, make sure you put it in the comment section below. I read these things every day when they come through, and I'll be sure to do a video on that. Again, my name is Chad. Thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.